Jonathan Palmer, meanwhile, gave the new Tyrrell its first crash test, and it passed with flying colours. But tell us, what exactly happened, Jonathan?
And came unstuck when the back hit the ground pretty heavily on the bump through the quick corner. Of course, that threw it into a big spin. The damage wasn't too bad, but it was enough to put me out for virtually all of the all of the remainder of that first practice session on the Saturday morning. We got out a bit late for Saturday afternoon, and the car was in understeering, and it took a bit of a while to sort it out. So the ultimate qualifying position of 14th was a bit disappointing.
The race was stopped due to a couple of minor accidents, and it was then that a split brake pipe was found on Capelli's march, and the unfortunate Italian had to restart from the pit lane. At the restart, it was Mansell who tried to get between the two McLarens who were on the front row. On the long drag down to the first corner, however, the McLarens got themselves ahead. So it was Senna from Prost, then the two Ferraris, two Williamses, and then Alboreto and Warwick. But this would be a tyre race. Tyre choice would be vital, and both Senna and Prost had come up with different solutions.
That's Senna in the lead of another Grand Prix yet again, and Prost having to follow his erstwhile teammate yet again. The interesting thing here was it was two McLarens, two Ferrari and two Williamses all up in the first 6 places. There was Gerhard Berger in third at that time, and Mansell was in fourth, and there were the two Williams cars, but with a long way to go in the altitude of Mexico. A very dusty track, a very bumpy track in parts. Very, very fast corner leading onto that pit straight. And at the bottom there, into the first chicane, and that was Mansell as he was diving inside Gerhard Berger to take an early third place. But Jonathan Palmer was an early visitor to the pits, and he had throttle linkage problems. And teammate Michele Alboreto, meanwhile, was lying in 7th place as Senna continued on his way, leading the Mexican Grand Prix. So it was Senna 1 and Prost 2 as Gerhard Berger came into the pits to retire with another gear change problem on that electronic change on the Ferrari, causing more problems. Stefan Johansson went out in the Onyx after getting past that pre-qualifying barrier. He had clutch problems as Prost came into the pits.
Yes, Prost in the pits. It took him 14 seconds to get new tyres. He'd started on softer tyres than Ayrton Senna, and in fact had not been able to make those tyres live, but they'd fitted a new set of soft tyres for him to go out again, and he managed to get past Alessandro Nannini and move up into 5th place. But unless something happened to Ayrton Senna, this effectively cost him his race, and he was back into the pits again for another 15-second stop only a few laps later, and this time they fitted harder tyres. A problem with that front right, however, delayed him, and it was not for some seconds that he went back out again. And indeed, he was even lapped by his own teammate Ayrton Senna on his way to victory. There the two of them through that long final corner, and Ayrton Senna lining up to lap his own teammate, and that doesn't happen very often in Grand Prix racing. So Ayrton Senna confident as he lapped his own teammate, and nothing would upset his race unless there was a reliability problem.
But Nigel Mansell was upset. He had been in 2nd place in the Ferrari, and then the oil started leaking away from his gearbox, and he gave 2nd place away to Riccardo Patrese in the Williams Renault. So 2nd place for him, but 3rd place well earned by Michele Alboreto in the Tyrrell 018. He had said that coming to Mexico would be Tyrrell's first real race, and Dr. Harvey Postlethwaite, the Tyrrell designer, well pleased with that effort. Ayrton Senna absolutely delighted to take the checkered flag, and victory in the Mexican Grand Prix for the Brazilian Ayrton Senna.
This was Senna's 3rd win in a row. A delighted Patrese was 2nd, and just as delighted was Alboreto in 3rd, using soft tyres like Alain Prost, who only finished 5th. Tarquini scored his first World Championship point with 6th place. Senna was no doubt happy to share the rostrum with two drivers whom he didn't really regard at that stage as championship contenders. But where had he gained advantage over teammate Prost?
I think he chose soft tires all on, which were a little bit faster, but we were not sure about the performance during the race, and it proved to be wrong choice.
And Patrese too was pleased to have scored his first points for Williams Renault.
We showed to have some potential. We were a little bit unlucky and we couldn't really get the results that we could have in the first part of in the first 2 or 3 races. And now with this second place, the moral is going up for everybody, and we can work even harder to try to beat Mr. Senna and McLaren on.